What's up, my brothers and my sisters from another mister? So today we're going to do a comic book review of Berserker, issue number 12. This is the Immortal Warriors Last Battle, the epic conclusion to the groundbreaking original series by Keanu Reeves, brought to you by RatedComics. Let's get to it. So just like a quick summary here, like having lived for over 80,000 years as Berserker, this man's thirst for death was inconceivable. Morality and truth be damned, all he wanted was to fade away and die. The recent as well as the supposed finale of Berserker has left us with a very steep cliffhanger. That finale just raises further questions, and the sequel doesn't only feel like a possibility as of this moment, but also a necessity in my opinion. So we're going to go into it and stick with me to the end because you'll see what I'm talking about here. So this issue begins with Caldwell going straight up bonkers on this battlefield, or should we say going straight up berserker. He is just running around frantically ripping soldiers apart. The man remains unhinged and keeps moving this thing forward. That thing was thingy, but in a brutal kind of way. So gunshots are irrelevant to him because he is no longer mortal. He's unaffected. As this goes on, there is a brief exchange of telepathic messages between Diana and B. She explains that Caldwell is actually a leader of some fanatical cult. Surprising? Perhaps, but then again, this is not out of character for him. He was also on a mission, but not the same mission as they were on. While this communication goes on, B plunges forward to evade the enemy soldiers. Diana tries to stop him because, well, you know, he's no longer immortal. He's a mortal man now, but a strong mortal man with like 80,000 of freaking battle experience, fighting experience, who was once revered as the god of war. B is still as much of a pure menace as he was before. He's just mortal now. He takes several of them out, but the real problem is Caldwell was still charging at them full throttle without any fear or hesitation whatsoever. The telepathic communication continues. Diana reveals that she never wanted what B had. No, she simply wanted the answers, and so she wonders if she could do it all over again. Will she? Still, for better or for worse, she's kind of married to these problems now, and they both got what they wanted. She found her purpose, and he found mortality. B was fatally wounded at this point. Diana steps in and simply plucks Caldwell's arms off of him like he's an insect. He is destroyed to a point where he can't physically move any longer. Kevin pulls up in a jeep, tells them both to quickly get in. B takes the artifact that granted him his mortality, and once they are safe distance away, the soldiers nuke the hell out of the entire place, the entire battleground. And that is just a sight to be seen right there, and I can't wait for this to be translated into Netflix. So leaving Caldwell done and dusted. Meanwhile, inside the jeep, Diana pukes. B asks her if she is okay, and she replies that she has never felt like this before, back only when she was pregnant. And the verbal communication ends right there, but it continues telepathically. As we see someone from the cult pick up Caldwell's unrecognizable decapitated head, Diana talks to B. She reveals that as much as they wanted to reproduce the immortal gene within him, what they really sought was to make contact with the source that sent B here to begin with. And HQ has succeeded in that. They have made contact with the intelligence that sent B over here. In the wake of all this, all those incomplete clones created years ago in B's image are incinerated. But hardly, if ever, there is an end to which is immortal. This is just crazy, man. So the leftover body parts unite and gave birth to someone that is labeled as Franken-B. Franken-B, that's the name they gave him. We just have to go with it. So Franken-B just ran away from the facility into the wild. We then transition to a scene of B getting examined in an HQ safe house somewhere in Virginia. So the doctor congratulates him. He now gets hurt like normal people now, just like the rest of us. Yeah, that's right. After 80,000 years of never catching a break from this curse of immortality, B has finally been revealed. He is now like a perfectly normal and healthy human being, one with 80,000 years of combat experience. Diana is getting examined by another doctor in another room. Kever is also sitting there on a chair, arms folded and legs crossed, body language indicating that he may have another mission to fulfill shortly. If it wasn't obvious already, well, now it is. Like Marvy Papa said, B, you are the father. She is pregnant and it'll only take a week for the babies to come out. Yeah, babies, plural. Following this, Kever explains the situation to a figment of the hypercomputer that was used to make contact with that of extraterrestrial intelligence. It's probably someone from HQ, but I don't know, this is my hypothesis here. Kever is told to kill the man, which is B, and keep the woman alive, which is D, Diana. Kever is not pleased with this command, considering how long B has served together with him, but he knows that he must oblige, man. Orders are orders. He enters B's room and engages in small talk. Unaware that B can telepathically communicate with Diana, she knows what is up and she tells him to buy her time. So when B looks out the window and Kever prepares to shoot his head from behind, the light suddenly goes off. It's Diana. She enters the room whilst imposing her will and imposing her powers. The other soldiers already have been taken out. She makes things incredibly simple by the way she's doing the thing. Just like how she turned off the lights, she could also turn off their hearts. Kever, being a straightforward and shrewd man, understands that this is not a joke. He bids the two farewell and good luck. She tells him that she turned off the lights by cutting the flow of current. She could also turn his heart off just as easily, but she doesn't want to hurt Kever or his men. Kever, not being stupid about this, lets him go and tells B that he will see them on the other side. The hypercomputer tells Diana and B that those kids are not theirs, but Diana smokes it by using a black laser beam for her eyes. Then as they walk away from this safe house straight into the snowy lands, B tells Diana that he knows someone who can help them. Then this takes us to an old building somewhere in the vacant lands of Tuscany. There is a family whom B has known for generations. They welcome them, provide for them, provide food and shelter and some great hospitality. You know he hungry. And so soon, Diana gives birth to them. There are two kids, just as he suspected, but unlike all those times in the past when B's children were born lifeless, this time it's different. They may not be crying, but they are very much alive. They have only been just born and they are already gulping on her breast milk. Anyways, Diana has another telepathic but brief conversation where she recalls how people say that history rhymes, or maybe it just mirrors itself. So the kids play outside and B notices that the kids don't berserker. They don't go berserker. They hold hands as they watch the kids play. The kids grow up real quick, and then one night while B and Diana were lying in bed, sleeping, the troops invade. It's the kids who wake them up, take them outside, and show them the aircrafts. B asks the kids to go back inside while he braces himself for war. It is just them two against the army, but B has established a legacy as the god of war, and Diana is immortal. She uses the black lightning laser in her eyes to pulverize the aircrafts while B picks up a gun. The soldiers on the ground open fire. In a few moments, the silence of the night has been overtaken by random shootings and blasts. Diana can handle the bullets, but the same can't be said about B. He is no longer immortal and therefore is susceptible to the gunshots. First his arm is shot and then he gets caught up in a bomb blast. Diana continues her rampage. While the soldiers are told to secure the kids, B sees this while lying on the ground, barely alive. His eyes full of fear because of the implications of what may happen next. He can only watch in despair and scream the words, "No!" There was nothing else he can do. The kids charge at the soldiers and start ripping them apart. They go berserker. They pluck their eyeballs out, even bite their necks off. The kids are ruthless, brutal. If it wasn't chaotic before, now it is. B screams yet again, telling them to stop right there as they were to be on top of Kever and do some damage to them. And this time the kids stop before they do any damage to Kever. Almost as if their switch turns off, Kever walks up to him. Looks like B isn't going to make it out alive. Not this time. The man tells him to rest in peace. Diana gets a little closer, tells Kever to start walking, then she asks the kids they can fix him, but they can't. It's too late. Still, B talks. He calls her name. He wishes that he found his purpose. He states that it's about time and thanks her for everything and then breathes his last breath. The kids ask if he's gone, to which she replies, "Yeah, Daddy B is gone." But as for where he went, there is no answer, at least not yet. A grave is prepared for B, and then a few days later, the kids enter Diana's room in the middle of the night. Their collective presence comes off as rather dark and eerie. She asks them what's up, and well, they declare it's time for them to start their lives. They also flex their heterochromic eye. One is red, the other is blue. Just like that, they begin to walk away. Diana asks where they are going, and they simply reply with that they're going to plant their seeds. Okay, I want to go plant my seeds this weekend. Anyways, following this, no, that's amazing. That's insane child support and some child expenses right there. Anyways, so following this, we see a glimpse of what's going on. Kevra walks outside to greet the sun on yet another day. Members of the cult somewhere are feasting on Caldwell's flesh. Frank and B is seen approaching the HQ safe house, but perhaps more interesting than any of these events is a scene where we see the kids hanging around with potential mates in a bar. They are ready to do the deed. Well, I guess, calling them kids at this point is a little inappropriate, isn't it? But for better or for worse, they're about to plant their seeds. As we see all this unfolding, Diana is having a detailed monologue with herself. She wonders about moments, about perfect memory, about the past, the future, and yet also about purpose. But the crux of her conversation with herself is what it means to be immortal, to be the voice from the past, an echo of the forgotten, rippling into the future, shared memory. Is that what it means to be immortal? She is then seen standing on a cliff just watching the sunset. She calls out to B, wondering if he's still there. And it looks like death is irrelevant too, because what we see next is B coming out of a peculiar mushy substance on a foreign planet. He can very much still hear her telepathically speaking. She asks him about where he is and if he can make it back. B comes out of whatever he was coming out of, looks around and sees a somewhat unusual scene. There are 3 moons, plenty of massive mushrooms, strange creatures in the background, and an overall extraterrestrial atmosphere. We have no idea where he is, but for some reason his body language implies that he's somewhere familiar. B replies to Diana's question about whether he can make it back. He declares he'll find a way, but it'll be a while. She tells him to hurry as we see him open his eyes. They are just the same as the eyes of the kids that were shown to Diana earlier when they were talking about planting seeds. One is red, the other is blue. The story ends right there, and this leaves with the odd sensation that everything we thought we knew has turned out to be a complete mystery. Now, this can't be the end, guys, in my opinion. This feels like it's the beginning of the end, the beginning of something big. There is an extraterrestrial intelligence hell-bent on populating Earth with its own kind. B must have been a test subject or a guinea pig since, whenever he tried to conceive a child, he failed. But this time, it's real. Diana gave birth to 2 kids who know what they are supposed to do. And the fact that she is now asking B, when can he make it back, means that she also knows what's going on. The same can be said about B. The only ones being kept in the dark are us as the readers, or maybe Caldwell is in the dark as well, because the last time we saw him, he was a source of fresh meat for the cultists, and it doesn't look very leader-like to me, but whatever, it's pretty crazy, but it's cool though. Though I'm not sure about this, his eyes still imply that he is onto something. And also, what is Franklin B doing? I don't know, guys. What do y'all think? Comment below, let me know. Will there be a sequel? Should there be a sequel? With all the hype around the upcoming animated series and the live action, I do see Berserker becoming big enough that a sequel is inevitable. But there hasn't been an official statement thus far, so we'll have to see. Overall, the final volume had a different feel in comparison to all the volumes that preceded. All the main plot lines are still hanging in air, and we're just got to see where the story goes from here. That's the question. And also, I want to end off with, don't forget to check out RatedComics.com to check out our Berserker issue number 12 exclusive only to Rated Comics. That's the only place you can get it from. And it's a really cool looking cover in my humble opinion. But link in description if you wish to add Berserker issue number 12 or the exclusive or any of our other comic books to your comic book collection. Support the art, support the industry. Lastly, this review is sponsored by coffee, so if you'd like to buy your boy a cup of coffee, link in description, or donate just to support the work. But the greatest compliment you guys can do is by liking this video and subscribing to Rated Comics YouTube channel. Thank you again for watching. Until next time.